to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, and as always, I have a very special guest for you, Ritha Pierre, who's the founder and CEO of FREEda's World. She'll be with us for the next 30 minutes, so stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. Like I said, I have a very special guest for you, Miss Ritha Pierre, who's the founder and CEO of FREEda's World. She'll be with us. She's here right now. So welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's great to have you here. We love having people in the community who I call movers and shakers, doing big things. And let me tell you, this FREEda's World's come on my lap a couple times.
Okay,
so now
it's
nice to have the brainchild behind it, to actually get it straight from the horse's mouth. So that's amazing. But before we even get into that, let's kind of talk about you. Who is Ritha Pierre?
All right. Well, who is Ritha Pierre? That's a good question.
Big question.
Big question. So I'm an attorney. I always start off by saying I'm Haitian American.
Yes.
Because I'm very into my Haitian roots. Growing up, I was raised by my mom. She was a single mom, and my grandmother, and my younger brother, and my mother made a very big deal about making sure that we knew that we were Haitian first and then American. So that really shapes who I am. And I'm an attorney in New York City. I've been practicing since 2012, so it's been a couple of years now. I went to Fordham University School of Law, and after that I started working at the District Attorney's Office in Brooklyn as a prosecutor. I did that for a couple of years. Yeah. It was a great experience, really great experience. It gave me a lot of good skills to move on to another job that paid more money, because everybody knows government workers.
Yes, absolutely.
We do not get paid. And so I started working at a labor union, SEIU 32BJ, as an in-house attorney representing labor union members. And then as of recently, I just got a job working for a real estate investment company in the hospitality sector. So it's still labor, but it's just a different side of labor. So this is my second week.
Fresh. I love it.
Very fresh. So I've learned a lot, and I'm like, okay, I think this is where I belong. I see some boss potential there. So
that's great.
Yeah. So, and I have a 12-year-old son. I didn't want to forget that part, because he might say, "What about me?" So.
Hey, Mom, you're getting your shout out, little man.
Yes,
right here.
Shout out Jediah, my 12-year-old boy.
That's amazing. So a lot in that little bit, Haitian American. We all understand the struggle, especially when you're first generation here. Your parents kind of come here and they kind of put it on us that they're going through that, so we could do better.
Exactly.
And continue to do better. So kudos for that.
Thanks.
When did you decide that you wanted or had interest in law?
When I was 8 years old.
Okay.
I know. And some people are like, oh, kids never know. I always encourage children, if you say you want to be something, just say it, because you never know. So prior to me saying I wanted to be a lawyer at 8, I think when I was 7, I wanted to be a scientist, because my mom was always into the medical field. And so
that's a very Caribbean thing.
Yeah, exactly. So there were always books around, and I always loved reading about different things in the medical and science field. But it was really my love for Matlock. At a young age, my mother cut the cable. I know a lot of Caribbean kids can, they understand where I'm coming from. The parents are like, cable is the devil. And so I was watching a lot of local television. So, Murder, She Wrote, Rescue 911, Matlock, those shows. So I was really into Matlock, and I was like, this is cool. Being able to put a case together, investigation. And I was into Nancy Drew books at the time. And so I used to walk around the house with a notepad, spying on people, putting down clues. And so I said at 8, somebody asked me in the church, what do you want to be? And the first thing that came out was lawyer. But because I'm kind of one of these people, I stick to what I say, I'm kind of stubborn like that. I was like, well, that's what I'm going to be, because I said it.
Yes.
And so over the years, I tried different legal programs. There were these teen court programs, and then I took some in high school. I took some courses in law, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. I think I actually do want to become an attorney. And so when I applied to undergrad, I went to St. John's University. They had a law school. So I was thinking, oh, dual degree, maybe I could do maybe law school in like 6 years instead of 7. I didn't go to St. John's, but the idea of going there was to go to the law school. So I continued on to my journey. I graduated undergrad, and then I went to Fordham, and
here we
the
are.
rest is history.
Here we are. No, that's amazing, you know. And how is your family's reception of that, you know, seeing your success and how you've grown? And
my family is interesting. I would say for the most part, everybody was happy that I was on this, I guess, professional track. Like, my family is very proud of me. However, my mother was disappointed that I didn't become a nurse.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
So,
I was waiting for it.
at my graduation party, she's like, you know, I wanted her to be a nurse. I don't know what's happening here, but she wanted to be a lawyer. I guess that's acceptable. And I'm like, what?
Yes.
So the fact
she just sealed it. She just got the bag.
You know what I'm saying? So after she got over the fact that I became an attorney, then it was like, oh, I need you for this, I need you for that. So I would say my family is very supportive. My friends who have been along the way with me, very supportive. They all try to use me. So
you got the skills.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, fast forward a little bit, which in the next segment we'll fully dive into it, but FREEda's World was birthed.
Yeah, well, FREEda's World was actually birthed out of FREEda Women NYC, which is like, I guess you could call it the parent company.
Yes.
But yeah, fast forward, I embarked in this journey of like entrepreneurship. So that's
they kind of go together, because a lot of times attorneys, you know, eventually open up their own practice, which, you know, you're still working with people, but doesn't mean long term that might not be something you'd want to explore, which essentially that's your own business. Yeah,
I mean, I do. The thing is, I guess, because I've seen so many people who've opened their own practice, I like, at this point, the security of health insurance and, you know, a paycheck. And one thing that I think people fail to understand, because I get this question all the time, why don't you open your own practice? I'm like, yeah, it's a great idea, but if you don't hunt, you don't eat. And so you have to be like on 10, like vacations might be out the window for you, because you got to now, you know, you have to live, you got to make money. And for me, you know, I consider myself still a spring chicken. I want to be able to travel and not have to worry about, man, I can't pay the travel or the rent, you know, or so that's why for now, at least, opening my own practice is not really in the trajectory, but maybe in like 15 years.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And I've spoken to other attorneys, and like you said, not only do you have to hunt for the business, you have all the expenses of maintaining and operating the business and paying your staff and your associates and your support people.
Exactly.
And before you do all that, you're kind of last to eat.
Yeah.
Because you're taking care of everything else, your operating costs, which chews into a lot of it. So same thing with medicine, you know, open up your own practice. Do you have patients?
Exactly.
You still have to do the marketing part of it to even do a little bit of advertising and get that. So it does create for like an interesting scenario. I'm like, I kind of like myself I want that security a little bit. Doesn't mean I don't have ideas brewing in my head. I'm just not ready to take that leap yet. Yeah,
and it's okay. I feel like sometimes, like, I don't know if society or people kind of make you feel like, oh, you don't have your own practice yet, you don't have your own thing yet. Well, okay, I guess you can't handle it, or you just don't have the gall for it. But that's not it. You're actually being strategic.
You're strategic, like you said. You probably need 15 more years, and that's okay.
Yeah.
People put goals on what we're expected to do. And these timelines are really, at the end of the day, they're not the ones doing it, we're the ones doing it.
Exactly.
So we'll figure it out. We'll take a quick break.
All right.
We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. So, Ritha, tell us all about your venture.
All right. So, in 2017, I started FREEda Women NYC, which is still a company. It's a fashion accessories brand, and I guess basically we use fashion as a platform to motivate and instill, confidence in professional women of color. And so the types of accessories we have are, it's traditional. We have like, the earrings, the bracelets, the rings, the brooches. But the idea really stemmed from my grandmother, who passed away in 2013. And so she raised me, she was like my mother. And she was, a Haitian woman who loved her accessories. My grandmother would never leave her house without a brooch, without a hat, without, pearls. And with her, like, it was one of these things that it provided a lot of confidence for her. And it's like if I don't have this piece, I just don't feel like I'm me. But when she walked out the house with this brooch, with whatever, she was like unstoppable. And so growing up, which is ironic because I'm Seventh-day Adventist, so I didn't actually grow up wearing like jewelry. And so, but I would always watch my grandmother have these pieces, and you're not going to be 12 wearing a brooch. Like it just wasn't a thing. But when she passed away, it was very devastating for me. And I kind of started wearing brooches as like a way to remember her. And so working at the DA's office, it wasn't necessarily a place where you could just come in and have a fashion, flair. You were really wearing suits, you were wearing dark colors. And so when I started wearing the brooch, I felt like people were kind of like noticing me, like, oh, Rita, yes, the brooch, you're the girl with the brooch. And it kind of weirdly put like a face to a name, but it really wasn't,
To make you stand out a little bit because this is so many people.
Exactly. And I feel like it's funny, as a woman of color, you would think that you would really stand out, but you don't stand out for the right reasons. And so I really felt like wearing these accessories started to kind of like, I don't know, it kind of helped me come out a little bit. And so the concept behind FREEda Women NYC was, if you look good, you feel good, you do good. Sometimes, it's not like you don't have the skill set, but, so many things can like bring our confidences down. And so that's really where the accessories came in. But throughout, I guess maybe the first year, we started doing events that actually focused on the personal and professional development. So the exterior was covered with the accessories, but it's like that's not all you need to be, I don't say perfect, but I guess
to complete everything.
A complete person, like your best self. And so we would have networking events that would focus on particular topics, like, how to properly network. Some people think that you just show up and try to get a card, but, trying to go through the mechanics of it. And then we took up a cause, once a year we have an event during Sexual Assault Awareness Month that talks about the issues that the community doesn't want to talk about. And so that's kind of how we started getting a name. And then we started doing like some fun events like Release Your Inner Creative, which is like an open mic night.
Okay.
A lot of times as a professional person, like you don't have time, like you might have, wrote songs when you were a kid or sang or even, did poetry. But as an adult, you don't find time for these things because life takes you,
And sometimes even depending on what sector you're in, you feel like you shouldn't be doing that anymore.
Exactly.
And so I have people like, oh, I shouldn't be doing that. Like, I had an attorney once. She loved playing masks. She used to play masks and wear her costumes and be in the Labor Day parade. And then she's like, oh, I'm a professional now. I'm like, if you actually go to Trinidad, I'm there winding up with judges and everybody else, and we are all equal. When we are representing our culture and you're on the road and you're wearing your feathers, we are all one. You don't know who you're dancing with.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter because it's not about status and it's not about what you do and who you are.
Yeah. And I
think we're there for the same reason. And people kind of forget that.
They do. I don't know. It could be the work culture. Like, some of us are in very stuffy environments where you can't express yourself. And so that too kind of went into the idea with the accessories. Like you can, accessorize in a way that is still in line with company, culture, but it's like, you can wear a set of pearls. You can wear like, a brooch with a ruby gem, like something that stands out, that's classic, that, is appropriate for work.
Are your pearls from?
Yes, they are. They are.
You have to represent.
Yes, of
and
course.
I love pearls, actually.
They're
like a timeless piece.
They are. I find that a lot of women aren't really taking advantage of it. Like the other day, I was walking down the street with these pearls, and somebody said, "You're a Renaissance woman." This older guy, he seemed like he might have been a little off, but he's like, "You're a Renaissance woman." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "'Cause you're wearing these pearls," and I'm like, "Okay, I see you, sir."
They even put pearls on rings and bracelets. Like I have to get back into it.
Yeah, you have to get back into it. And this bracelet too, it's an infinity bracelet, is also from the line, and it's, I never take it off, and I feel like, I don't know, it's like a simple classic, piece of accessory, piece of jewelry that, you don't have to worry about, it being too flashy, too whatever. It's simple, it's elegant, appropriate for your job, especially where I work now. It's very kind of posh. So, wearing big hooped earrings might not be in the
we're door knockers, let's not do that.
Exactly. So, but yeah, so that's how FREEda Women NYC started, and FREEda's World, which is the podcast that I have, kind of came out of that in a way to promote the cause, not just the store, but also the fact that professional women of color, we go through so much in the workplace, and there are not many spaces for people to really air their grievances and find solutions. As an attorney, I'm a problem solver by trade and by nature. I've always been like this. And so just kind of addressing issues that are not always typical. So not always my boss is getting on my nerves, or how do I deal with colleagues, but issues like, I have a disability, and how do I navigate the workplace while I have the disability? Or, I'm dealing with grief. I lost my parents, but I have to come to work and I have to be present. How do I do that? Are there any tools available for me to be able to function while at work? So different things like that.
That is amazing. And I love it because, it's just so much that you're kind of meshing together.
Yeah.
How do you come up with the designs, or do you have other people also working with you for the creative side?
Not necessarily. At some point, I am trying to build some sort of a team, because it does get, when you're working full time and you're trying to deal with a business and a podcast at the same time, it's very difficult. A lot of the designs are still the same from 2017. There are a couple of things that were updated in terms of more earrings, bolder earrings, because I find that women are really into bolder earrings nowadays. So that's kind of entered into the scheme of things. But I feel like I've always had a good eye for things, and so I've had friends in the past actually create pieces for the line. So some of them are actually handmade by people I know, and others are just pieces that I found where I'm this is really beautiful. I think it'll go with the flow. So
that's amazing. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. So Rita, what is next for you? Where do you see taking the podcast, the collection, your work? I mean, yes, you just started something, so work is probably going to just be in its own little rhythm. But really, the entrepreneurial side.
Let's see. Well, I definitely want to continue growing the brand. There have been many times as an entrepreneur that I was what am I doing with myself? Maybe this wasn't my calling, and I want to kind of throw it away. But then either somebody will purchase something or somebody will make a comment, and I'm okay, this is a sign. So I definitely want to expand the brand and, have it be something that I don't know if I would say I want it in Macy's or anything like that. But maybe one day I can have a brick and mortar where I can actually sell these accessories out of a shop. And also have it be a space where I record my podcast. So the podcast, I really am trying to expand it as well too, and get it in front of as many people as possible. Not just because I feel like it's good content, but people have told me that it's good content, and I feel like I include my circle. I have a lot of friends who are doing amazing things, and they don't have this platform to showcase their greatness. And so kind of the same thing that you're doing here with Beyond Focus TV, just finding individuals and kind of giving them that platform and showing the world that, hey, there's somebody called Rita Pierre who has this, this business. And so with the podcast, I mean, I would love to be on the top charts of iTunes, all of these major, and hopefully get sponsorship so that I could run it like a business. I'm doing it now on a low scale, but I'm hoping that on a larger scale that it can be something that's even on Sirius XM, I don't know, something like that.
And what about events? We're going to be going into 2020, and it's scary to be even saying that.
I know.
2020.
I know, it's crazy. So with events, my biggest issue with events, and if anybody's listening, for vendors, I have a million ideas. I've always been an ideas person. I even have people to help me like put things together. It's always space. Space is always the issue. Like I could never find a space. I've had several events that I've had to personally cancel because, space was an issue. But what I want to continue doing into 2020 is, every year again in April, we have a sexual assault awareness month, and each year we make it bigger and, we include more topics, and it's kind of a space for education and for healing. And we've partnered with Canva and the DA's office, and my friend Audace Garnett, who's the head of Ascension Advocacy, who came together to really put these events together for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. But Release Your Inner Creative. We're hoping to do one maybe in September. So definitely, everybody, I guess, follow up, through.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned for that. I like to do those types of events because it is something that allows us to be a little creative. And we'll have a couple more networking workshops explaining, showing people the importance of networking, but also like the different ways, because I really feel like a lot of us are not getting ahead because we just don't know how to really maneuver in the spaces. Like we're in the spaces, but we just don't know what to do. So kind of having a lot more events that focus on both professional and personal growth.
That is so amazing. How do we get in contact with you, for everybody at home, if they want to do some purchases?
Okay. So for purchases for the accessories at FREEda Women NYC, you can go to www.FREEda WomenNYC.com, and you can contact me for the FREEda Women NYC at Ritha, Ritha, at FREEdaWomenNYC.com. And if you want to be a guest on the podcast, or if you want to know where you can find it, Freeda's World, it's FREEDA' World. You can find that on pretty much any space where you enjoy your podcast. So iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And if you want to be a guest, you could send me an email at Ritha, Ritha, at Freeda's World, FREEDAS World.com. And I'm also on Instagram. You can, go to the Freeda's World Instagram page, which would be FREEDAS_world. You can go to FREEda Women NYC. You could just type that in on Instagram. And if you want to actually slide up in my personal DM, you can. I am Rita Pierre on Instagram. So
a lot of ways.
To contact me.
With you. So that's amazing. How has this journey been overall for you, though?
It's really, to be honest, it's really been a bit of a roller coaster. I know sometimes people, when they talk about their journey, they kind of leave out the hard stuff. And for me,
I try to get to the nitty gritty. It's not roses all the time.
It's not. It's really difficult. Again, I'm a single mom. I work full time, and I have this podcast, and I also actually have another radio show on a station called According to RP. And the station's WJMS radio. So I do a lot. Like, I just don't know how to be still. I'm one of those people. But it's really difficult. There are mornings I wake up and I'm like, I want an extra 10 minutes of sleep. But I'm like, no, I got to record the podcast. Or I have to answer this email, or I have to. So it's a constant grind, and it's not for the faint of heart. So if you're somebody who complains or wants things to be easy, entrepreneurship is not for you. Because one moment you're excited, the next moment you're like, I'm done. I don't want to do this.
Exactly. You want to throw the towel in because you have those moments. And usually that's when you're about to have your breakthrough.
Yeah.
That they've all, like everybody has said, it's like that one moment where you're like down and out. You're like, you know what, God, I'm done.
Yeah.
This isn't for me. And you just got to hang on and make it through. And if you make it through that most difficult time, everything you want is right above, like right past that.
Yep. And I think it's important to for people to share their stories, because if you go on Instagram, social media, everybody looks like they're having a great time. People think that, like, I have money. They're like, oh my gosh, you have the radio station, you have the podcast, you have this, you're doing so great. And I'm like, if you only knew what my bank account was looking like last month, and that I probably couldn't afford a slice of pizza. People think that you're doing so well, and it's really for me, I believe in Jesus Christ, so it's by that grace that I'm actually here to even, because life is hard, and you have things that come at you, but I think it's important for people to be authentic. Like, don't just say I made it, but talk about like the struggles, because somebody who's going through that struggle might be on the brink of letting go, but if they hear that, you know, this person like survived, it's like, wait, I went through that same issue, I can do it too.
And that's why it's always so important. I never try to just show the glitz and the happy part, because there is the real part. Like Instagram will make you feel like you're inadequate.
Exactly.
Because you're not perfect, or your body isn't snatched, or, you know, they make it look like if you don't represent what these bad and bougie girls look like. So I'm like, I don't look like that. I don't have 30 inches of weave. I don't have...
And it's too
I'm
hot
not
for
shaped
that.
like that, you know.
It's too hot for 30 inches.
And it's okay, you know. Like, you know what? Yes, I struggle sometimes, and I have my moments, and it's good to see that real women, real working women, are still doing it. Yes, so
we do exist.
We do exist. But Rita, I want to thank you so much.
Oh no, thank you.
We're gonna definitely have a part 2, because I like the energy and all that stuff. So we'll bring you on for a couple of panel little things that we're gonna be working on. So
all for it.
We'll definitely have you back. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, you can send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. I'm your host, Lydia Patel. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back again next week. Same time, same place. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Beyond Focus TV show wants and needs your feedback. Did we blunder? Please let us know so we can improve. Was the show helpful to you? Drop us a note so we can share the success with our staff members. Is there something you think we could do better? We welcome new ideas and new approaches to old ideas. Do you have a great suggestion? Let us know and we'll work on it. If you would like to share your comments anonymously, please send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. If you want to get in touch with the executive producer directly, send him an email at gene@beyondfocusmedia.com. We really look forward to hearing from you. We really look forward to hearing from you.